You gotta do it afraid. You gotta do it the unknown. And you can't do this to God. Because I was holding on to clients because I was in an expired season. And being in an expired season, you hold other people up from getting what they're supposed to get. So when I release those clients, guess what? They're going to other people that need those clients. So my release is a blessing for someone else. So I'm holding up because I'm hoarding. And God is already making room for me spiritually in other areas of my life and gifting because I've served all my time here and I asked God for this. So how dare you be afraid when it show up and you want to hold on to something that you hoard and that's no longer yours. These people belong to somebody else in the next season. And you're overstaying because it's comfortable, because you got used to it, because this is how you've been living. Somebody in here is comfortable. Somebody in here is afraid. Somebody in here is doing this to God. And God is saying, I need to see more of you. And the only way you can prove yourself to me is by releasing back to me what is already mine that I've already given to you. And I just need to see if I can trust you to give it back. Whoever this message is for, you got to go to God like this. Because you're giving everything back and you can take everything in. Good evening, y'all. It is your girl, Kai Smith, also known as your hair loss advocate, the founder of the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases, and the creator of our signature course, ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. I am a mother, a wife. I am a lover of God, and I am very passionate about helping my peers identify hair loss behind the chair and helping women uncover the unknown factors behind their hair loss. And tonight, we are coming live talking about unveiling the power of trichology and why all roads lead to ID hair loss behind the chair. So strap in, sit tight, hold on, because we're about to take you for a ride. And as we ascend, we want you guys to ascend with us because we want to educate you. We want to elevate you. We want to empower you. All of the things that we need to continue to stay on the cutting edge of the industry as beauty professionals. So tonight, we want you to share this live out because we're going to be talking about expanding our mindset. We're going to be talking about impact, influence, transformation, transcending, you name it. We're going to be talking about spreading our wings and standing as the authority behind the chair. What does that mean? How do you do it? How do you remain steadfast? All of the stuff, being an entrepreneur or a beautypreneur is not easy, but it is definitely rewarding when you know how to stay the course because you realize that you're licensed to touch people. And that's a privilege and it's an honor. And as you're licensed to touch someone, you're responsible for the impact that you have within their lives as you stand over the top of their head. So how are you using your influence? Do you even know that you have it? What you doing? So I want to get into all of those things. This is Transformation Tuesday, as Meta calls it. And I'm inviting you guys into the space to take this ride with me. Tonight, I have some guests that are going to be coming live with me. So I want to bring on Miss Dania Durden and Miss Jessica Davis.
Hey.
Hey, ladies.
Hey.
How y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
I am doing good. So y'all ready for the holiday? Did it come up real fast for y'all?
It did come up real fast. Yeah.
Real fast.
Vacation for me, so I'm right. I'm ready.
You say what?
It's vacation for me, so I'm ready.
Right. It comes up too fast. Then next thing you know, we up for clinical. I'm like, how did we get almost to the middle of July already?
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy stuff. So tonight, y'all, I wanted to invite you guys in this space with me because we got a lot to unpack. We wrapped ID June 5th, and we haven't really had a live together to really unpack all that happened in that space. Like it was a whole lot of stuff. It was a whirlwind inside of that space as we stepped into it and watched things unfold. And so I just want to start off with allowing you guys, just in case this is their first time encountering each of you, I want you guys to just introduce yourselves to the audience so that they can know why you're qualified to come before them and what it is that we do as a team within the Kai Smith brand. So, Dania, can you introduce yourself to the people?
I'm Dania in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been a master cosmetologist for 12 years. I operate as a certified trichologist as well I was certified through the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases. And my journey with trichology actually started with Kai in 2018. So in addition to working with my clients personally in ID hair loss behind the chair, I educate my peers on the scalp microbiome and the things that they could be doing behind the chair to help educate their clients on their scalp and how their health is impacting their hair and their scalp. So I can't wait to see who I get to meet in October.
That's good stuff. What about you, Jess?
I'm Jessica, and I am in Killeen, Texas. I've been a cosmetologist for 18 years and a certified trichologist. I started out in another school, but my road led me to AHSD and ID behind the chair. I am excited to be a part of the tribe, to bring in the locks and hair loss, as well as co-chair with Dania with the micro scalp biomes. I'm very excited to meet each and every one of you this upcoming ID, and I'm excited to be a part of the team. Thanks, Kai.
That's some awesome stuff. Y'all see, we got fire jumping off over here. Each of these ladies have their own genius, that they bring to the space of the Kai Smith brand. So nothing can ever be done alone. Anytime it's a vision that you could do by yourself, it's nothing. It's not big enough. So with all the lives that I want to impact through AHSD, hey, Nicola, through AHSD, ID, and anything else that I'm doing to help transform the lives of the beauty professional, I need help. I can't do it by myself. So these ladies have partnered with me to continue to affect change in the beauty industry. And so I'm excited to have you guys on board. I'm excited for the things that we're going to be doing in July through the clinical training for the AHSD students who are preparing to certify, as well as our next ID hair loss behind the chair that's happening October 19th through the 23rd. So this is super exciting because we've elevated. Each time we elevate, if you will, it never stays the same. Hey, Meta, it never stays the same. And we've elevated because we've expanded curriculum on the scalp microbiome as it relates to the space where we serve at ID. And the reason why we did that, because we understand the importance of what's happening in the chair, how hairstylists need to be more equipped to understand the surface and the ecosystem of the scalp and how that relates to what's happening within the body. So we went a little bit deeper this time, and not only did these the beauty professional come out with a hair loss first responder certificate for intro to trichology, but they also left with a certificate in as a scalp microbiome specialist. And what does that really mean? Dania, can you kind of expand on what a scalp microbiome specialist is and why it is important to the beauty professional behind the chair?
I think the easiest way to break it down is a scalp microbiome specialist is someone who doesn't just shampoo their clients and, blindly style their client's hair. They're actually taking a look at their client's scalp, evaluating it, treating their scalp separate from their hair, and being able to educate their clients on what they see on their scalp, what's happening. And also work from preventative measures, because a lot of times, because we have not been educated enough in cosmetology, we are just operating blindly and don't understand what the scalp is telling us. So getting this certification allows my peers to be able to go back into their salon spaces with elevated education and be able to help their clients sooner when they're experiencing scalp maladies, and also be able to educate them, and possibly, if they can't help them themselves, refer them to another or a specialist, a certified trichologist that can help them with their hair loss in earlier stages so that we can save the follicles of our clients.
Absolutely. And I'm on Instagram also. And they can't see you, but they can hear you. And I have fake hair who's saying, which is what every stylist should be doing. And that is the whole point, is that hairstyling, hair care has shifted, and it will continue to evolve, as does everything in life. And what we did when we were in cosmetology school, for myself over 30 years ago, for Dania well over a decade ago, for Jessica, decades. So at the end of the day, things will always evolve. This is why scientists are continuing to do research, because science is continually evolving. And so why do we think that our chair shouldn't continue to evolve? For me, I wanted to talk about one of the biggest things that ID brings into the space, and that is helping someone come into self awareness, helping someone clarify their vision and their goals. And I think that we think that when we get into beauty, with styling hair, that the vision and the goal remains the same, but it shouldn't, because as you continue to stand behind the chair, you're responsible for growing personally, not just professionally. But if you grow personally first, it is going to push up on your edges of normal to say, I don't have a choice but to expand professionally, because the person has expanded. And as we continue to expand as an individual, we get bigger dreams. Our vision continues to expand, and as we increase our self-awareness, we get more clarity on what that vision is and how we need to move forward. And I think for me, as the creator of ID, and it may be the same or something different for you guys as educators in that space, but for me, I've watched the evolution of each participant, each guest come into that space. When they walk in the door, they're like stuck. They don't know what to expect when they first come in. They're kind of on edge. They see this big old thick book, and they're like, okay, now how am I supposed to retain all this? And then they have all these other notions about what to expect. And the biggest thing for me is I watch them come in the first day, and then the second day they're settled in, because now they got an understanding of what they can expect. But the biggest shift is because we start off with caring for the practitioner, and caring for the practitioner doesn't mean that we're doing anything other than helping them come into an understanding and a new agreement with oneself. Because when you are touching people and you are confused, you're transferring that energy of confusion onto the next person. And so we've got to be a little bit more aware of who we are and what it is that we're doing within ourselves before we can stand behind that chair and expect for our business to elevate and to grow, and expect for transformation to take place with the people that we touch. And so I watch this evolution of the beautypreneur who's come in, one way, and then all of a sudden it's like a metamorphosis, and they've come into themselves and they get a deeper understanding. And the biggest thing is they're like, this ain't what I thought trichology was. This is not what I thought trichology was. Now they see themselves aligning with purpose more so than with trichology. And that's the biggest thing for me that we do inside of the ID space, is this is not about hair. This is about health. This is about wellness. This is about spirituality. All the things. If you want to call that a trinity, because I just listed 3 things, it's about all of those things. And we have to learn how to move based on the era. And we're in a different era of styling. We're in a different era of care and concern and meeting the clients where they are to help them get where they want to be. So I always say we help them align with their passion. We help them align with their purpose. We help them align with their values. We help them see all of these different things over those 5 days. What's your guys' take on that?
I think for me, exactly what you just said. I like to envision what came to my mind was like when you invite somebody to your house the first time, you get everything for them. And then by the time they come the 5th time, you like, help yourself. Because that's what it feels like happens. It's like everybody comes not really knowing each other. But by the time we leave, everybody's like family. Because now everybody's taking their superwoman cape off, their Superman cape off. They've allowed themselves to be vulnerable. They've allowed themselves to be open to what we have to share and not feel like they're going to be judged. So I feel like personally, as someone who attended ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair, I can honestly say I felt myself evolve the most in the last 6 years since I sat in that classroom.
Nice.
So seeing other people experience it, it makes me really excited to be a part of this, but to also see other people get to feel it. And now they're feeling it on a level of 5 days versus when I came, it was 3.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I completely agree with you. The self-awareness to me is the biggest thing, because when we do what we do behind the chair, we naturally attract who we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I truly feel like when you finally become aware of who you are and what you want to be and what you want to do and how you want to operate, you naturally make room for what is meant for you.
Yeah, that's good. What about you, Jess?
Yes, I'm the same. I agree with both of you. And even down to for every ID, when it comes down to it, I get to experience something different. I'm always in anticipation of what the next is going to be, because any event has never been the same. You know, we come in and we, like Dania said, we get to learn who each other are. You serve us on that first day. The second day we come in and it's like, okay, I know where my seat is. I know where my things are. Everything is laid out for me for the second day and the remainder of the day, throughout the week. But just to see, like you said, the evolution from start to finish. One person come in and nobody leaves the same, that the way that they came in. And it's just a whole mind-blowing experience. From the time you walk into the room, you see everything is laid out for us. And the mindset from day one, because most people don't realize that it's not just about the hair. They don't realize that it's about change on the inside out. And so when we get that first day, just mindset shifting, and it's like, wow, I need to make some adjustments for myself in order to be better for my clients that are in my chair. And I think I remember the last time one student said that they're going to release some clients. I think that's what we're talking about, releasing. And when you find out that the clients that you thought that were for you really don't align up to your core values, that was really huge. And it hits hard with me every time, because it seems like I leave out with a bigger purpose. And I'm separating some of the services that I offer and just making things better and more cohesive for myself as well as my clients. So when you set it out to where you are growing and glowing, and then when you leave out, you take everything that you learn in that instance along with the workbook and you put it together and you make a whole, it's like a whole nother business that you just created when you leave out of ID.
Mm-hmm. That's good. For me, because you said, your purpose gets bigger. And
Mm-hmm.
I think it is that, for me, the idea is for us to, we all have a gifting, right? We all have a gifting in this space, in this life, not just in this space. I'm not limiting it to the beauty industry, but in this life, we all have a gifting, 2 or 3. It just depends on what we've been blessed with, right? And if we are aware of those gifts. But in the space of beauty, when it comes to trichology, I think the biggest thing is that people realize that when I'm training them on trichology, I'm also training them primarily on their purpose and how that aligns with trichology and their uniqueness and how they're going to move forward with it. And so the idea is to be able to build a life that you love to wake up to through this. Not a life that you hate to show up for. And so there's a lot of clarity, because now you're in a cohort with like-minded people who have decided to put a pause on their lives for a week and to come and to purge so that they can refill. Because just like when we first started off today, the intro video says that you can't come to God like this.
Right.
Gimme, gimme, gimme. So in every season of life, we have to recognize that it's time to release some things, not just clients, but release habits, mostly because we always think that, oh, it's the other person that is doing all of this, that's wrecking all this havoc in my life. But no, it's the lack of boundaries or the lack of value that you have for yourself that's inviting all of this other stuff in, that's making you think it's the other people. But so we got to shift in our mindset. So we attract who we are, right? We attract who we are. So if we're broken and if we lack self-awareness, then we're going to invite brokenness and a lack of self-awareness into our chairs also, which is allowing you to build something that you don't like. But when you realize that you don't like it, you first look at you to see, how did I invite this into my space? And I think that's a lot of the clarity that's happening, so that we realize that we do have the power to build what we want to build. I don't just have to get what I get.
Right.
I get what I get because of the choices that I'm making or I'm not making. And I think that with Dr. Joy coming in and starting things off, she brings clarity to who you are to yourself. Not who you are to other people, but who you are to you first. That matters before you can have any exchange with anybody. I have someone on IG who first asked, do you recommend the Miel hair oiling? Well, I'm not sure if you are a consumer who's purchasing these products, or if you are a hairstylist who might be using these products or recommending these products to your clients, but I don't believe in oiling. I don't believe in oiling. And the reason why I don't believe in oiling is simply because our natural function of the body is to secrete oil through the sebaceous glands. And so we don't need to oil. If you have, longer hair, possibly it may be dry. So then your scalp doesn't need to be oiled. Your hair needs some TLC. And there's an approach that you take to that. And if you need support with learning how to care for your hair because you're a consumer who's looking for the right hair care products, then I advise you to inbox me. Or if you are a hairstylist who's wondering about these things, ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair will be a great place for you to come and understand the ecosystem of the scalp and how to care for the hair fibers, because caring for the hair fibers and caring for the scalp are two separate tasks that are done in the chair, which is what Dania teaches so well on through her segment at ID. And then Jessica teaches that as it relates to locked hair and how to care for that hair, because that's a whole other curriculum in and of itself, caring for locked hair, because people think that when your hair is locked, it does not need TLC. And that is a lie. It still needs TLC. So this is why we've incorporated this piece into IDBTC, because so many people have opted for locks for many reasons. They could be doing it for the trend. They could be doing it because they have hair loss and they think that it's the next best thing for them, which if you have hair loss and you're trying to lock, or you're somebody that is locking someone's hair that has hair loss, that's a big no-no. And you need to get under Jessica's tutelage so that you can understand, what to do for that, how to move with that. Let me see. Our hair is the best expression of ourselves. Yes, absolutely. Our hair is the best expression of ourselves. But since you said that our hair is the best expression of ourselves, when you look in terms of health, if you're having hair loss, that expression means unhealthiness. Yeah. So it truly is not just an outwardly expression of how we're feeling and how we want to trend it, but it is also an expression of where our health is, the state of our health as well. Okay, you're a client. So I would suggest, if you would like personalized care for your hair, to get with me in my DM, and I will share with you how to make that next step to speak with me so that I can learn more about your hair situation. Because this is what we think, that we can take blanket information and care for our hair, but we can't. Your hair has a unique story that it's telling based on its needs. And I need to learn what that is. Even if you don't have hair loss, that is something that still needs to be understood when you are creating specialized processes or protocols for your clients who don't have hair loss. In that case, is it more useful for the serums? Well, then you need to know why you're using the serum. So why do you feel like you need to put something on your scalp or your hair? That's the bigger question. What is it that you're trying to resolve? Or are you doing it because this is just what, as a culture, we've been used to doing, greasing our scalp, putting something on our hair? So we have to first see why you're doing it. What are you trying to get from that? All right. So ladies, I want to hear from you guys. Why should somebody sit in the space of ID? Why what is like, I want to talk about your top 3 things why, but so let's just start with the first one. Why do you think someone needs to be sitting in the space of ID?
I think because hair loss has become a epidemic, is at its all-time high. They don't teach us how to care for the scalp in cosmetology school, and so this is one of the reasons why I think it's top for me, because we're not learning this out in the industry. We didn't learn it in school. YouTube is not teaching us what we should know, and in your space we learn all the things about the scalp. So yeah.
That's good stuff. Dania?
I agree with Jessica, but I also would like to say I feel like it's so many classes that people teach all the time, but to honestly say that this is a class where you can feel the passion and the care for the beauty pro in the space. This is not a class where it's fluff, and this is not a class where you don't get information. This is truly a space for you where you are poured into, because every day we pour into others. So in addition to the education, you actually get to feel cared for in that space with other beauty professionals that understand where you are and want you to be great, not just take your money.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
And so for me, I feel like one of my top 3 would be because we need to be in a space of continuing education. We think that when we get licensed that we don't have to continue our education because we have the basics and we can style and we can do all of these different things, whether it's coloring or cutting or whatever. We learn how to hone the skill set, and we think that that is all that is required. But it is a space for continuing education that is going to support you, not with just one technique, but also it's going to support you with building a completely different menu of services. Like your whole menu of services is revamped as a result of coming to ID, because now just like what Jessica said, I recognize what I don't want to do,
Right.
but you also recognize what you do want to do. What you may already be doing, you can enhance that. And what you're not currently doing, you can start doing. That is a solution for the client. So your menu of services now becomes a list of solutions for your clients, because your clients have problems. So now you're building an arsenal of solutions for them to choose from, which means that you're not locked into just servicing one type of client. You can create solutions based on the things that you want to do in that space. And not just that, but with everything that you're learning, we're teaching you how to build an additional 6-figure income based on the information that we're teaching you. And not only are we teaching you this information, but then we go the distance and we do the financials with you to show you how to actually get to that 6-figure income with the newly acquired skill set that you have. And then we bring in a tax strategist and business expert that's going to go deeper with you. So you're getting so much in that space. It's not just you going to show up for a color course. It's not just you going to show up for hair cutting. It's not just you going to show up for extensions or some kind of technique. It is a smorgasbord filled with so many different things that allows you to create so many different solutions that will solve problems that your clients don't even know that they have yet, or answer questions that they don't even know that they have based on issues that now you're able to see through the tools that we educate you on using behind the chair. So it's filled with so many different things. So the ongoing education for me is always the hit. So what else? Let's see. She responded to me. I've been having hair loss for a lot of time, and I know that it can be for a lot of reasons. That's why I'm pretty sure that the best way is taking a class or a meet with a professional as you. Okay, and so if you are actually a customer who's experiencing hair loss, there's no need to take a class. You need to get with an expert so that you can get educated on why this is happening and how you're going to fix it. There is a specialized formula for you that is not cookie cutter, but the only way that we can learn about how to customize this formula for you is by understanding your physiology and what your physiology is saying. We need to interpret the body systems and how they're responding. And when we can do that, then we understand how to meet you with a protocol. So I really advise you, now that I know that you have hair loss, I advise you to go to yourhairlossadvocate.com and schedule a discovery session with me so that I can learn more about you and I can tell you the ways that I can support you, and you can decide if you want to move forward with me or not. And that's yourhairlossadvocate.com. LaVarn says people should come to your space because prevention is just as important as a solution. Get the knowledge of what to do and not to do so you keep your clients from becoming part of the epidemic. Working on coming now for October class. Absolutely. I love it. And prevention is the only way to eradicate hair loss. Did y'all know that? If we want to eradicate hair loss, then we got to prevent it. As long as we're reacting to it, the statistics are just only going to increase. But when we learn how to prevent it through our tools and what not to do to the customer's hair, when we start seeing miniaturization or any other maladies showing up on their scalp, then we'll be able to address it sooner, quicker, faster, and get that turnaround so that they don't have to lose all of their hair, or they don't have to even start jeopardizing follicular tissue or any of that, because our lenses are shifted when we sit in classes like ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. Your mindset is shifted by even sitting in the Meatless Hair Care series that we've been doing for the last 3 weeks. So there's levels to this, and it's just exciting. It's exciting to build a community of like-mindedness, to build a community where you know that you're arming people to go out there and meet these problems head on with these robust solutions that they're learning when they decide to pour into themselves. What's the second top reason for you guys?
The tax strategists. When Marche comes in and teaches us how to get our life together with our finances.
Yeah. Yes.
We operate so much with, like we say, chasing the bag or getting the bag, getting that money. But we don't realize that we need the assistance on how to keep the money, where to invest the money, what to do with the money. And she comes in and, along with the financial pieces that you add to that, it all ties in together to make a person leave out whole within their finances and makes them go out and think about the things that they do before they do them, instead of just like we do. We get this money and we go right out here. We got this bag that we want to go and purchase or whatever the thing is. And is it the right thing to do for your business? Are you filing your taxes? Do you have an accountant? That type of stuff is important. And so I think that's the second thing that was a highlight for me.
Yeah, that's good stuff. What about you, Dania?
I think for me, the second thing is the level of confidence that the attendees gain by the time they leave. I think it's like watching a kid, like, how they're learning how to walk and they're falling, but by the time they really get it, they're stepping and they can keep their balance. It's like being in anticipation for who you become in the process of the education, the talking about the spirituality, the understanding who you are as a person, the financial piece, the branding, putting that all together and leaving and showing up into your space that you're building with more confidence than you left with, and seeing how that shifts everything in your business for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Listen, if you guys are just joining us, we are talking about why all roads lead to ID Hair Loss Behind the Chair. And we want you to share this information out with your beauty besties or with your community on social media. While you're doing that, we're getting ready to hop to a commercial real quick, and we will be right back.
I always thought I was saying I didn't want to be a trichologist, but sitting in here made me realize that it's stuff that I needed to know to help the next person, to help myself.
I guess with the correction came direction, because I knew I needed to get a little more education in order to be able to help them the correct way.
I think that trichology takes some time to get. I said, but I want over here, so you need to call Kai. So this is where I'm going.
This book, but your next level is the American Academy of Hair and Scalp Diseases. It isn't this book, because what I have for you in AHSD, this book can't help. Once you get into it, you're gonna want more and more and more. So, like I said, this is my 4th time here. I think I said on my 2nd visit, I don't feel like I ever need to miss an ID.
And you haven't since you've been here.
I haven't missed the ID since I've been in the.
You know, so you just exercising, you giving us that on-the-job training. So I'm thankful for that.
Strength comes from your creator, so I need you to shift that strength. And it's the surrender. And it's the vulnerability. And vulnerability does not make you weak. Vulnerability makes you strong.
All right, that's just a snippet of what goes down in that space. God shows up and he shows out as only he can. And that is one of the reasons why it excites me every single time that we're going into the space, because we are just servants in the space. So we don't know what we're planning for, the education that we're going to give you, but we really don't know all that's going to unfold in that space. Really don't. Satura says that's just a snippet of what we received. Absolutely. It's just a snippet. And so I want to take this opportunity to invite you into this space that we keep calling ID hair loss behind the chair, that, you know, yields so much transformation for beauty pros to serve on a higher level, to serve themselves on a higher level that then transcends to the customer. And so October 19th through the 23rd, we are going live again for 5 days in Houston, Texas. And it is a phenomenal space to be with like-minded people. It is a space where you're taking off your superwoman or your Superman cape. You're laying it down and you're filling your own cup, because we run on E. And when we run on E, we give people fragments of ourselves and they don't get the best version of us. And we've normalized giving people a lesser version of us. We've normalized that. And so ID impresses upon you to pause, to yield, to pour into you, to acknowledge you, as Joy would say, to come to center, come back home to yourself. And so that you can fill up, you can release the things that are no longer serving you, and you can embrace the power of Trichology and learn how to leverage that space. And October 19th through the 23rd, we're doing it for the last time for 2024. So it is the last call for you to get that education that you need to not just start 2025 off right, but to end 2024 right. Mm-hmm. Right? We always looking to start the next year, but what about the rest of the time that you have in the current year? So yeah, it's the last quarter, and how am I going to do it? You know, I need a full year to make it happen. No, you don't, because God is the redeemer of time. And if you take time for you, he will show up in that space for you. Some of you come into this space every single week. Y'all post on or comment on the posts. I really appreciate the support, but I really would appreciate if y'all honor yourselves and come in and get the experience that you know that you need, because you're on the fence. You know, you're contemplating. It's like you're playing double dutch with yourself, but that's the call. Yeah. You don't need to be confused. You know, you need to be in the space. You know, you need the clarity. You know, there's a next, but you don't know what that next is going to be. You know that you deserve more, and you know that you're underserving your clients. And ID is the space where you're going to get full to overserve. So I'm inviting you to come and play with us at ID for 5 whole days, not just with me, but with Dania, with Jessica, with Marche, with Dr. Joy, and we have some other people who are coming on to this lineup that I have not introduced yet, and I'm holding on, but we got some good stuff coming for y'all. We got some good stuff coming for y'all for October 2024. It is the last call for you to get in that seat. Your clients need this information. You can't afford to be without the information. So the link is scrolling on the ticker at the bottom. Go and check it out. Read what's happening. Read the testimonials that are there. Look at some more of the videos that are there. But it is a space that will serve and fill you up for you to be all you need to be in this era in the beauty industry. So, y'all, let's go to the third top reason. The third top reason, and for me, it is the resilience and the adaptability. The resilience and the adaptability for me. And why is it those two words? Because again, it's the era that we're operating in. It is an ever-changing space where what worked last season is not what's working this season, where clients are always having some difficulties, some issues that are mysteries to them, that their doctors really can't support them with, but they're coming to you, and we can't leave it in the doctor's hands. So we have to be resilient enough to adapt to what's happening to our clients. We can't afford to not be at the forefront, because hair loss is a pandemic. It's not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to get worse because people are becoming more and more unhealthy. So what do? Shut down your chair because you can no longer, style your clients because their hair has gotten to a space where the follicles are void or the follicles are completely absent and you don't know what else to do with them, or you're continuing to camouflage, giving them, non-surgical hair replacement so that they can cover it up, but really they have viable follicles underneath that. And nothing's wrong with non-surgical hair replacement, but we need to understand the options that are available for them based on what's happening within their scalp. And if a person still has active follicles, there's no reason why they should be in a cover-up style and not getting treatment. And if they have a cicatricial form of hair loss, or whether it's primary or secondary, and they move into a space where they have to have a cover up, we need to make sure that the follicles that are still remaining, that they're stabilized and not impacted. Because even though they may feel like they're at the end of their rope or the end of their road with their hair, those hair follicles leaving their scalp is still a reflection of their health leaving their body. So this is why we have to elevate beyond looking at the hair. And when you are in the space of trichology, you understand that this has very little to do with the hair and everything to do with the body. And this makes you approach them different. So we have to be resilient enough to adapt to what's happening with the client, because Miss Judy is not the same client she was when she came to you 10 years ago. Now you're starting to see Miss Judy's hair miniaturize, it's thinning. You're doing all the same practices to her, but her hair, the canvas is not the same. And your education has not expanded because you have the same exact clients and you don't feel like you need to change because your clientele has not changed. They're locked and loaded. You can set your clock by them. You can pay your bills by them because they're recurring, and you don't feel the need to go out and get more education because you're serving the same old clients that need the same old thing. But yet Miss Judy's hair is changing, and so are all the other clients, because we age with our clients, right? So if you're having issues with yourself, if you having hot flashes, or you going through menopause, or all the things start showing up different for you, you can't digest food the same way. All of those things are signs that they sit in your chair, and they talk to you about, but because you don't have an ear for trichology, you just signifying and don't even understand what you're signifying. But they're giving you all the clues as to why their hair is thinning right there before your eyes in your chair. But because you have not elevated with the era, you chose to not become adaptable. They're losing their hair on your watch. So this is one of the reasons why, for me, it is the resilience and the adaptability that ID brings to the space of beauty. What about you, ladies?
So for me, it's awareness. Like you said, we don't know what we don't know until we get into the space. Personally, I personally just believe that ID is one of the most profound, explosive events that anybody should attend. It's life-changing in so many ways. I've been to several classes in this industry, and I am so honored and proud to just say that just being in ID and learning and growing has been one of the most amazing things for me. You give it to us really real. You break it down to us at the level where we can truly, truly understand it. It's more than just the book. We look at the book and it's like this many pages, and we kind of get, but you break it down each and every page to the letter for us, so that there's no room for us to not understand. It's just the mental capacity that you give us to be better than we were when we came in. And I just, from the first time ID up until this ID now, I can't stop smiling because I just think that it's just so amazing. And everybody needs to be in the room, because you show us how to analyze the scalp, right? We don't get to learn that in cosmetology school, and you're really not learning what you're seeing in any other class, because you give it to us by the science. We get to actually hands-on see what's happening, and you explain to us what it is that you are seeing with the capilloscope or the trichoscope. So I mean, it's just amazing, and I think that we should give into ourselves and serve ourselves first, and invest in ourselves first and foremost for this education, because it is the front door to the AHSD. I don't know, I always talk, but I like to say, for me, when I got into ID, I was like, I have to do this. The call came from me for AHSD, and I said, I don't care if I had to eat hot ramen. I don't care if I had to go do whatever it was I had to do. I needed to be able to level myself up in the industry, level myself up for me first and for my clients, second. But it's everything. If I could just write a whole book, it would just be everything would be the first time. Because it really is, it is everything. And I just love being connected to like-minded people, the spiritual aspect of it all, God first above everything else. And like you said, we got to come in this way and not like this. And when we are open to give, we most definitely are going to receive. So my top is everything. That's just my top about the whole ID, AHSD. It's everything, and the information is there for us to have.
That's good stuff. What about you, Dania?
I think for me, while y'all were talking, the word that came to my mind was shift. And when I say shift, I don't mean just in your beauty business. I mean for generations to come with the information that you learn, because you change with yourself first. You're setting generations up after you to break the curses of unhealthiness, because there are things that we just do because we're used to it being done in our families and we're used to the routine. But it's so much deeper than hair. It's because you really are embarking on a journey where you're breaking your own habits so you can help your clients break their habits, and inevitably your kids and your grandkids and whoever else is around you will learn from you about those things and how they're impacting our health overall.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's good. And so learning how to break those generational patterns, because let's just keep it real in this space.
It's hard.
Mhm.
So many hairstylists are experiencing hair loss
Yeah.
and don't know what to do.
Mhm.
Covering it up, shaving their hair off, whatever it might be. And so if you can't help yourself, how do you propose to help your client that is in the same boat as you? So when we're on the airplane, the first thing they say is what? Put your own oxygen mask on first,
Mhm.
right? Hey, Tarina. And so there are so many of us experiencing the hair loss. And if you don't come for any other reason, you need to come for yourself.
By myself. Yeah.
Because rosemary oil alone is not going to stimulate your follicles to overpower what that blood is supposed to be doing to that derma papilla. I don't care how organic the rosemary oil is.
Yeah.
right? Because rosemary oil is a stimulant. Is the reason why I'm saying that. And I'm not saying that rosemary oil does not have its place, but rosemary oil does not trump an internal process. So it doesn't matter how much oil you put on the scalp. It's not going to overpower and stimulate the follicles. And so we need to understand what's happening inside of the body. Trichology is your passport to a healthier body.
Yeah.
Not healthy hair, healthier body, because a healthier body is going to yield the fruit of healthy hair. And so I'm just excited that I get to be at the forefront of this, and that God has chosen, Kai Smith to bring this education from a different perspective, right? And that I'm held responsible for the people that I lead in this space. And then I also got people walking alongside of me that are leading as well. And it just makes the whole experience that much more powerful when you bring other people like Dania or Jessica into the space. And then we got Miss Angela, who's just that servant, that support system. I see you, Angela. When, God aligns you with the right people, more servants to expand the experience, it's just that much more powerful. And I tell you guys that coming into that space is a humbling space, because it is a space when you coming in and you carrying stuff, oh, God is going to arrest you and he is going to break you down to help you to rebuild you the right way. And so you come in there with your stuff, you can't hide. There's nowhere to hide with your stuff. There's nowhere to hide with your stuff. And it's not a space for embarrassment or shame. This is a safe space for you to come and get what you didn't even know you needed. Mm-hmm. That's how wild God shows up. It's like, I didn't see that happening. All right, God, I didn't even know. I didn't even know. I'm just open. I'm here. You do whatever you want to do in this room. It's your room. I just showed up and said yes. So let's talk about the spiritual experience that happens, because it's out of all the things we just really named, it's the spiritual part for me.
Yeah.
It's the spiritual piece for me. So watching the transformation, watching the things unfold is like nothing you've ever experienced before.
No.
Like, I can't even put a word on what that is, because it's unbelievable when you watch how God shows up. It's amazing. Ladies, tap in.
To me, it proves that you don't have to be in the four walls of a church for somebody to have their breakthrough. Because I think a lot of times people think that that's the only place that it can happen. But I feel like because it can happen at ID, it just shows how much more powerful the event is. Because some of us don't step foot in a church. So we're thinking that we can't get our breakthrough. But to see so many professionals that pour into others every day to make them feel good, to make them look good, to help them smile, be in a space where they understand that I'm here and this is for me, and I'm okay with whatever I have to do so that I can leave here and I can leave all this baggage in this room, and I can leave here feeling full, because now I can operate from a space of being full and not empty. And I didn't feel like I had to do something, or I didn't feel like I had to show up and be somebody I wasn't to get that. Everybody in that space is authentic. So we're all able to get something from it. And as tired as we are when it's over, it's a sense of peace that you feel when you leave that you can't explain.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Definitely. You, Jess?
Yeah, it's church. For real. Pass the tithe and the offering plate, because it's church. It's the atmosphere that's set from the beginning, and when you walk in, you can feel that God is there. And even if a person didn't know what that feeling was, by the time you leave, you know that He has met us in that space. You allow us to, like you said, take the cape off. Whatever person had on that day, it's off. It's coming off. It's just the person in the raw, learning who they really are and accepting that they are the way that they are, but willingness to change is what made the difference in the space. And you have us, we walk in and we don't know that it's even going to be church. We just thinking we coming in for a trichology event. And
Right.
when the angels shower down and the walls open up, and it's just like so powerful. Words can't express how I feel renewed, transformed. I can go out now and feel like I can put the cape back on, whatever it is that I'm putting back on, and just save my clients because I've been saved myself. Saved and delivered from whatever it is that I brought in there on that day, on the very first day. And then it just continues, the spirit just continues to flow throughout the whole entire 5 days. And it continues on even after we leave, and I'm a lover of God and I love all things. And, being around like-minded people just makes it even the more, because you feel so much better about life. You can have a person that can just come in and just be ready to just throw in the towel and enter into ID and walk out. Like your life just be changed and from an instant. And it's amazing.
That's
It's
good
not
stuff.
just about the hair.
Yeah, it's not. Definitely it's not about the hair. And that's just not a cliche that we throw out there. It's an experience. And when you experience that, that's the first thing that comes to your mind. It's like, I was drawn here because of my clients and their hair. But this is way deeper than this hair. Like, I had no idea, whoa, I had no idea. And then you become your first client while you're sitting there, because you start processing all the symptoms that you experiencing as we flip in the pages of that book. So it aligns you first. I promise y'all, it aligns you first. Angela says breakthrough. I order my tambourine. We be churching all God alignment. Angela, if you come up in there with that tambourine in October, baby, I'm gonna be done. And I will
bring your mints.
Grandma got the peppermint and the bag.
Listen, I love me some Angela. Her energy is so needed in that space. I don't even think she understands. I really don't even think Angela has a true understanding of the foolery that she brings to that space, because she keeps us laughing so hard. But it's not she's not intentionally trying to make us laugh. She's just being her, and she's serving her heart out. But and she be serious when she serve, y'all. I promise you, she be serious when she show up to serve. Okay, don't play with Angela. Don't play with Grandma, because she will read. She is real serious about hers. Okay, but on a serious note, we're gonna go to a commercial real quick, and we'll be right back.
Now all glory to God, who is able, through his mighty power at work within us, to accomplish infinitely more than we might.
One more time. Run it back.
Now all glory to God, who is able, through his mighty power at work within us.
Okay, come on, King James.
Now to him that is able to do exceedingly abundantly above all that we ask or think, according to the power that worketh in us.
Okay, what you got? Okay, what they talking about?
Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to his power that is at work.
Okay. But what's the constant thing that's in all of them? Who heard it? Who heard the common thread? Who got it?
We think.
What is it, Brittany?
According to the power within.
One more time.
According to the power within.
Little louder.
According to the power that is within us.
Okay. According to the power that is within us. That means you gotta participate in your blessing.
My God.
Whatever God is going to do in your life is going to have to come through the power that he has inside of you.
Just good. Y'all hear it?
Listen, y'all just got to be there. Like, we can show y'all the clips and we can show y'all the everything, but you got to come and get your own experience. I promise you, it's nothing like being in that room personally. Nothing like it. So I I want to get ready to end this live. And as we get ready to get out of here, Dania and Jessica, I just want you to give them one reason why they can't afford to miss the last ID of the year.
Your life depends upon it. Your life. Life.
How do you mean that? Why does their life depend upon it?
Because you learn health for yourself. It begins here within you. Change for yourself. Knowledge of the things that you need to change to make yourself better, to be a healthier person on the inside, to be able to serve to your peers and to as well as to your clients, but just your life. Everything about mentally, spiritually, and physically, your life depends upon being in there.
That's good. Dania?
Because you can't keep doing the same thing in your salon and expecting a different result. If you want to be a part of something greater, you have to be willing to change and be uncomfortable. And I know a lot of times the first thing people say when they reach out to me is, well, it's the price, or that's too much to learn. I'm not interested in the science and all of that. But you have to be open to new things for new opportunities to present itself to you. So you're complaining about where you are in your business, but you're not open to the things that are in front of you that will get you to a different space, not just money, not just in a different space financially, but in a different space spiritually, physically, and mentally and emotionally. To be in a space like this, you can't put a price tag on it. So stop being afraid to spend money on things that help you and invest in yourself the same way you invest in other people's businesses.
Man.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that said, we've been before y'all for an hour. We getting ready to get out of here. I want you guys to have an amazing rest of your week. Be safe this 4th of July, midweek and weekend, and we will come back to you next Tuesday. I love you guys, and I will see you next week. Good night.
Say, well, why did you choose those 3 words, Kai? Why did you choose educate, empower, and elevate? Because we want to educate you in this space. And that education should empower you. And once you become empowered, if you finish the same way you started, that should breed elevation. So that's why. But, somewhere we separate the education from the elevation. And that's because people sometimes they're inspired or they're motivated, but there's no empowerment. Empowerment is a verb. You have to take action with empower to then ascend on the journey to elevation. Sometimes we can see the vision, and then when we come down and we sit in our quiet space, that negative chatter begins to erode that vision and how we see ourselves in a space. And so that will actually separate you from the knowledge that you have and the wisdom that you need to execute for the elevation to happen. And so I just really want to encourage somebody. I really want to encourage someone that sees the whole picture. You see it. You can almost touch it. Whatever that is, don't you go to another class to get the education. Don't do it. You have what you have inside of you. Some of us become hoarders of knowledge. And we're like books on the shelf in the library. And being a book on the shelf in the library is in an inactive state until someone pulls that book, sits down, opens its pages, reads its pages. The knowledge that they've gained, they have the wisdom to execute for elevation for that next level. And I don't want you to continue to chase something. Stop chasing something and you're going in a circle because you are searching for everything outside of you to be the best you. When you've already gone from one class to the next class to the next class to the next class, and the one place that you've not chosen to seek is within you. To actually execute on all the information that you've been burying inside of you to birth your best self, your highest self for that next level.